like I mentioned earlier, if I
Mm-hmm.
look at my life a year ago, very different than where I am today. 2 years ago, very
Mm.
different than where I was 1 year ago. But in the new year, I was looking at gyms, just gyms in the area of gyms to work at, and I remember applying to. I think I applied to 8 gyms. I found 8 quality gyms that seemed solid. I was like, all right, let
Mm-hmm.
me let me hit them up, see what's up. And Swanee was the first one that got back, and I was
Of
surprised. I
course.
remember because when I sent out the email, I immediately got a message back saying like, "Hey, we received your resume. We'll get back to you." And I thought it was like a bot or something,
Yeah.
but none of the other ones sent me that. So I was like, okay, it was
Mm.
actually a real person messaging back. But what happened at the beginning was because I went through the little that form on a typical gym website. I started getting those messages of, "Are you ready to transform your body? Today's the day to transform your body." I kept getting it over and over. I'm like, nah, my body's good. I'm just trying to
My
work.
body's good, bro. I'm just trying to
um,
work, fam.
yeah, I'm just trying to work. But that was on a Monday, and I remember I applied to like 8 gyms, and I remember all of
Yeah.
them got back to me, and Swanee was the first one that reached out first, and it's like, "Hey, let's hop on a call in like the next 2 hours or something." And I remember
That
hopping on a
sounds
call.
about right.
Yeah, we hopped on a call, and at this point, I've been to Ferris once. They had a community event a few months ago where they just had it was just a community event, people working out, good vibes. I didn't know
Yeah.
anything else about Ferris. I didn't know anything about Swanee, and so he gave me a little spiel about Ferris, his background, and then he asked like what I knew about Ferris or him, and I said, "I'm gonna be real. I don't know anything. I just know that you're black and you own a gym, and and I want to be here because all the other gyms that I applied for, great gyms, but it just really stood
Uh,
out to me. A
is it
black
me
man
with the
owning a
fucking
gym,
internet
having a
connection? I'm
roster.
bad.
I
Hold the
just wanted to be
fuck
a
up.
part of that. So I just said that. I just said it. I was like, "You're black. I want to work with you."
I ain't gonna
And
lie. That's the realest answer somebody can give.
yeah, because being candid, man, like even being on this podcast, I'm like, damn, like I haven't been a trainer for very long, and
Hmm.
I made the jump quickly. During COVID, prior to all this, I'm an actor and I'm a model. I still do that, and
Yeah.
during COVID, that's kind of when I decided to make a transition, just because I've always been a part of fitness and I've kind of
Hmm.
always helped people with their fitness and never realized like, oh, trainers do this also, and I could do that and just kind of changing the narrative, because before I was just, man, you should see my DMs. I would just be in my DMs all day, just
Yeah.
almost doing consultations with people for free out of my free time, and I realized, oh, I could actually make a living doing this. So it was a very easy transition for me, and
Yeah.
being within Swanee, he's, as you know, in Swanee, like he's a coach. He's a coach for a coach. So I'm
Yeah. Yes.
blessed that I was able to get it like that.
I mean, that's pretty
But
dope.
yeah, yeah. So that's how it started, and it's been good. He's a you know
I got a quick question. From acting and modeling and personal training all at the same exact time, like, how do you juggle like all those different personalities and roles? Like, how do you juggle that?
that is a great question, and one it's one I'm still figuring out.
Okay.
I'd say this whole year, it's been about really trying to figure out that specific question of how do I
Mm.
juggle who I am when I exist in so many different spaces. Um, when I first started at Ferris, I almost felt like an imposter being there, because
Damn.
I was on the at the beginning. I would have maybe you know how it is. I had maybe one client at 7 a.m.
Hmm.
and then I had a big gap for the rest of the day. And sometimes it just felt embarrassing being there, where there's people who are on the floor for 12 hours, 9 hours,
Hmm.
working full shifts, clients back to back to back, and I'm just popping in with one client, do my own workout, and leaving.
Hmm.
So it felt like I wasn't a trainer,
Yeah.
but on the same coin, it also felt like I wasn't enough of an actor too, because I was doing all these other things. Um,
Mm.
I took a lot of acting classes, a lot of improv classes, theater, but I always had my foot in something else. Like just going really deep into fitness. So I always felt like I was always in the middle, never
Mm-hmm.
fully in one domain. Um, this year, I think I've been diving a lot more into the personal training, also just because I'm doing one-on-ones, and the very
Yeah.
fact that I have a client that I'm there. She sees me like today. I saw her 7 a.m. and I've been seeing her 7 a.m. for the past year, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's been what's really grounded me physically. But it I don't have a clear answer for you on how I do it. I kind of just live my life. I get up and I go to the gym,
Yeah.
and I found the gym has always been my baseline, what keeps me
Mm-hmm.
grounded. And I've seen how they all feed into one another.
Mm.
Like a few months ago, I taught a workshop at our gym, um, the improv workshop. So I was using my
Got you.
improv for actors. Improv. Sorry, improv. For my experience from improv with actors, I did improv for coaches, and so
Okay.
using all of the principles I learned from public speaking and being on stage for coaches,
Yeah.
because I've met a lot of coaches who know much more than I do about body types, about how to facilitate change with clients, um, but maybe just lack charisma,
Mm.
lack just the ability to just kind of be themselves and not be so stiff. And it's been cool seeing how it blends in. So I'm starting to get into this stage now where I'm seeing, oh, there is a place where I can still exist as a trainer while still growing these other areas of my life. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's what brought me to Ferris was my background. Like I just told in Swanee, like I'm not the most experienced trainer,
Yeah.
but I haven't been at this gym and that gym. But I I learn a lot, and I'm a lover of life, and I just love being in different spaces. But this
Mm-hmm.
past year, having the label of a trainer has been good for me, and I've been relishing in it because, again, the past 2 years, 3 years, I've been trying to shy away from labels, being like, "Oh, I'm not this," or
Yeah.
almost like a fear of commitment per se.
Yeah, I understand. Like trying to get outside of the labels as a box and just trying to put yourself within your own individuality and uniqueness. To that same point, because I've been there before. Like my first job, I was a video coordinator and stat guy, and I was trying to figure out how to
Mm,
work my way into basketball in some form or fashion, while still being in school for computer science, and then it ultimately changed to exercise science. And then I said, okay, I'll be a strength and conditioning coach. And then eventually I was like, you know what? I'm pretty good at skill developing and pretty good at getting players better. Might as well take it a step further and work towards being a head coach to where I am right now. And I think what helped me is when I realized like all these hats play a role into my overall purpose, right? Into what I want to do towards my craft in basketball. And I guess relaying that message back to you was like it's gonna come a time and point where they all come together and play a role into what it is you're going to do ultimately for yourself. But in that in between stage, it's kind of like you don't know. So the biggest thing I wish I would have told myself that I probably tell you is
mm,
just perfect every facet of it. You never know when it will really come together in that melting pot and how beautiful wearing multiple hats consistently and at a high level of excellency once they all come together and to alignment. Yeah, man, it's pretty cool. Like it's pretty cool. Like I'm a rare coach. Like I can really sit a kid down and do film breakdown.
mm,
I can strength train you for the whole year. I can skill develop you. I can coach the X's and O's. I can, what I'm saying, help you with your academics and understand how that helps with college recruiting. And I can also get you in front of college coaches. Like I'm a really rare service. And if I were to sit here and say like
yeah.
all I had to do was just perfect every single thing along the way, I mean, I'll be telling you there's no way in the world that's real. So just fall in love with the process. Whatever it looks like now, man, I'm telling you, like it's rare that something of high value doesn't serve a purpose. So you just gotta like um, work with it. To dive back in on the acting side a bit, how does that, in a sense, help with being charismatic, help with being present, and help with honing in more on just who you are? We all have identity, and I think the best thing about actors, because like I was a little, saying thespian in middle school. I love to act a little bit. So the biggest thing I got from it was the
Dope.
ability to express oneself and to find a role in the script and to really develop that character for yourself, right? And so who I am as Sean might not be the same way as a coach. May not. It may change in different settings with different people. But when I'm in that realm or that arena, I know who I want to be, how I want to talk, how I want to present myself. How do those skills of acting enhance that ability to step into a role and really show it to everybody else at a high level?
Mm. I think at its core, um,
Mm-hmm.
the majority of actors spend more time auditioning than they do actually being on set.
Mm,
So, akin to a trainer, perhaps he spends more hours in a consult than he does actually on the gym floor, perhaps.
yeah.
So, it's similar in that regard. And the audition process is so weird and fickle and esoteric, and it doesn't make sense
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that you can see. I remember going to an audition, and you'd sit in the room, and everybody looks like you.
Hmm.
Everybody looks like you. They got the same fade as you. They got a little beard like you, and
Whoa.
everybody.
So we're just, this is a police lineup and we're just trying to pick the best one.
You just- and that's actually what it comes down to. They're just trying to pick the best one,
Of
and
you that
the best one.
Yo, that's sick. That's how it works.
But the thing is, the best one changes. Like the best one isn't always. Yeah, that's how it works. But the best one isn't the best actor.
Yeah.
The best one is simply the right fit for that role, whatever it requires.
Mm,
So again, you can have 20 people in a room, and there's that one guy who's, you know, tons of experience on stage. Like that guy's an actor. You know, look at his resume. He knows what he's doing. There's another guy who just walked up off the street because a casting director saw him, thought he kind of looked like he could fit in the role. He's never been on
mm,
camera in his life, and boom, he gets it. And part of the actor, the psyche of many actors, you just go into spirals because you spend so
mm,
much time. Am I enough? Do I look right? Am I a good enough actor? Am I handsome enough? Am I too ugly? Am I too handsome? So many variables. Is
mm.
my hair too long? Am I too tall? So you get so preoccupied with how you're perceived,
Yeah.
and it eats away at your soul. It can eat
Yeah, I can
away
see that.
because you're auditioning and you're auditioning. You're not getting feedback. You're just going to these rooms after prepping these characters, this emotional attachment to these characters. Doing this over and over and over, I've learned myself and from other experienced actors is the most important thing is to learn how to just, they call it, throw it away.
Mm,
So it's to be able to go into the room, do the audition, leave, and never think about it again.
mm.
They had
I like
this,
that.
yeah, this analogy of getting ice cream after an audition. Some people use that as a ritual. They get ice cream after they go on a walk with their friend, but they don't talk
Yeah.
about it. And what I learned from that is it's this idea of just not caring, but not in a way you don't care and you don't try to perfect your craft, but you're putting in the work, and you you're not so caught up on the outcome. And so you're going in the room, they ask you to do something, you do it, and then you just walk away. And that itself, I found, is what acting has done for me is this level of confidence. It's brought me from you have really no control over whether or not you'll get this role. the crazy thing about this idea of not caring is often the roles an actor gets is the ones where they did it and they didn't care. They didn't care.
Mm.
The last commercial I did, I remember going to the audition and I didn't have any nerves. I was just sitting in the room waiting for my turn to be called. I went in, I did it, and I left. And that this was actually this time last year. It
Mm-hmm.
was this nice car commercial. And then I remember on set talking to the other person that got it, and they were in the room during the audition. I remember they were talking to me, and they're like, "I remember when you did it. You seemed so like chill about it." Like, and I remember telling them I didn't care,
Mm.
and it was almost weird. It was almost like this defense mechanism to like protect myself.
Yeah.
Um, because when you care so much about these auditions and trying to get it and trying to get it, you get your heart broken so much. So
It's not the dating scene of life,
I
but
didn't
I
want to get my
got
heart
you.
broken. So I just decided, yeah, yeah. I just decided to not care. And funny enough, that's where like that guy. I want that guy. That's the guy right there. The guy. Yeah.
This sounds
So
like modern day dating so much, but I'm listening.
yeah. And that's what I say. And that's what I say. I say I have a toxic relationship with acting. That's what I say. It feels like a toxic relationship.
It's definitely toxic. This man is nonchalant, don't care.
Yeah, the guy was nonchalant. But going back to it though, I think at its core, the thing that taught me the most was again, people you just have to. I know it sounds like so vague, trite, and when I say just go for it,
Yeah.
but I remember just being in class and we're sitting in class and saying someone we're doing a scene and someone's on stage, and after the scene, the coach would always talk to them, say, "How'd you feel? How'd this feel? How'd you feel at this part?" And it's very apparent when someone's in their head
Mm.
and when they're holding back, and it's easy when you're on stage. I mean, it's easy when you're watching to be like, "Oh, like just do it." But when you're on stage and you have all these thoughts going and your chest is pumping,
Yeah.
it's hard to get out of your head per se. But you realize all those people watching, all they want is for you to just do it anyways.
Mm.
Like, for example, the role requires you to scream, like just actually scream at the top of your lungs. And some people will just like, they go, and everyone's like, come on, like, what are you doing, bro? Just scream. And so screaming itself, just doing
Yeah.
it and not waiting for permission for
Mm-hmm.
someone to say, "Hey, you can do it." Because this container, this classroom, being an actor is the permission to act crazy.
Mm.
You're not gonna go on the subway and scream. I mean, you will. People scream on the subway on the regular, but um, being in a class where the that's like the parameters set where everyone's just gonna go for it. Doesn't matter what happens, just you're just gonna go for it because the worst feeling is feeling like you held back
Yeah.
because you say we give the characters justice is what we say. These characters that are written, you got to give them justice in their story, but you have to go all out to really justify their experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not really you, it's them. But that feeling itself is, I found has trickled into more into my life. And when I'm talking to people, I just tell the truth. Like, I, when people ask me stuff, it's sometimes been a little to my disservice sometimes, maybe even going on a date, and I'm just so dead ass about everything. Like,
I hope you not to the point where like she like I know he ain't say that to me. I know he did not just say that to me. Like real you could have
not a out of pocket thing,
okay. Cause I hope it ain't like the
but yeah, I
like
hope
how
that
my
made
dress
sense.
look. It ain't the best. It ain't the best. That dress could have been better.
No, I think you start with the compliment. It's kind of like the sandwich. You start with the compliment, the room for improvement, and
Not the sandwich.
and then
Not the sandwich critique method on the date. That's nasty work. yo, yeah. Nah. Shout out to acting. Acting is makes you dangerous. Got it.
yeah,
Got it. Got it.
too dangerous.
Makes you dangerous because I use a sandwich method
Yeah,
coaching kids. I've never done that on a date.
yeah,
Got it. Taking notes right now.
yeah, man.
But now I think the
But
biggest thing you said that I was listening to was when you said the class gives you permission. The class itself is already giving you permission, right? I think that's the same thing some of us as coaches don't understand. Like, you got the cert, you got the experience, you have permission now to go out there and be great and to hone in on it. You don't have to wait for any Instagram results, any, you know, testimonials. I believe you showing up every day and giving yourself that permission to hone in on the day-to-day process and then keep track of it and then get close towards the end goals with your clientele. That alone itself is a role you have to play to its fullest capacity, but you got to be fully present as opposed to waiting like,
mm,
man, I don't know if I'm a good coach now, so I'm gonna wait till this kid makes his team and then I know I'm a great coach. Like, no.
yeah,
Like, no, you can't present yourself like that. So that's a gem right there in itself. It's like the domain or the arena you're in, it's already giving permission to be that person. So why not be it to its fullest capacity?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna definitely take that because it be some kids, dog. I'm like, I got kids that are really good, but they get in their way because they're waiting for the results to validate who they are. And it's like, why?
Yeah,
Why are you waiting for your shot to get better, your handles to get better, or simply getting more minutes on the varsity team to say I'm a better player? Like, people call it delusional, like, to say or believe in something that's not there yet, right? I don't call it being delusional. I call it a seed. If I take a strawberry seed and I plant it inside the ground, that motherfucker gonna be a strawberry, same bush. That ain't delusional, it's just the truth. So if I have this thought in my mind that like, nah, I'm about to be like one of the best coaches like ever. It's not delusional. It's just a seed. It's a simple thought, and then that thought has to get nurtured with a lot of other actions behind it and a system. And when we see these, quotes and memes of like, you got to be delusional for it's not delusional, dog. Like, I got a damn thought, I got a plan, I got a system, I have a support team, and I got myself. And it ain't delusional. It's just right there. It's how it always has been. It's nothing new. And I think, you know, that's where people lose. And that's why I was asking about the acting background because I had a few friends that, are current actors right now. Like one of my friends I play basketball with, Bakari Copeland, he's been in a lot of um, average ads here in the States. He was in a few ads within the NBA Finals, works for it, did a couple ads with Foot Locker. Like, he's got a pretty great portfolio right now. And his quote he lives by is called "Delay is not denial," right? So regardless of if the
mm,
opportunity isn't given to you, it's not denied, it's just delayed. You have to keep working on yourself, keep pushing yourself towards that goal and that dream. And that's been something he's been living by since 2016. That's just his mantra. And since then, he's been all over the place within his acting career, within his playing career as a basketball player, and also just a guy who does sometimes, he sings as well. Like, he does singing too. So he's like yourself, multifaceted in areas. Is like, how the hell these things are connected? Like, they just all over the place. But he's found a way to make it work. And I think that's the biggest thing I admire about people that are in acting or people that are, in those fields, is that you guys have a certain level of resolve towards like, nah, I'm gonna be good at this. Like, might not be now, but I'm gonna be really good at this and it's gonna pay off. And I don't believe a lot of coaches have that within them. And that's an X factor that we all need to have in life. And and honestly,
mm,
I think that can help you, like, capitulate you in a space as a personal trainer to where, like, yeah, I've been there. You had one at 7, you don't get back to like 4, and then you got maybe 2 more. I've been there. Those are some dark days, man. Like, waking up early for one person and you have nothing, and you're like, what the hell am I doing? And during those times, yes, confidence dwindles. Pride as a man goes down the fucking drain. And last but not least, I think, the belief of oneself kind of gets questioned too much to where like you ask yourself, is this really gonna work? Um, all that to say, as long as the work is good, people will talk and people will, say and shout you out. So I think within that space, use the resilience you have, because like you said before, consulting is the same as that thing as auditioning. So as long as you can do a consult and get ice cream after, and you know, ice cream or baguette or whatever you want after for like maybe 3 to 4 times a day in between the gaps, at some point you'll land something, and then next thing you know, you'll be on the floor a lot longer. But I think the biggest thing that I took
Mhm.
from you was you're given permission to be that, and kind of fall back on you. Like, are you giving yourself that permission when you're entering that realm as a coach? Like, are you giving yourself that full
Yeah,
authority?
yeah, and that's I think the biggest connection I had to make
Nice,
as a coach,
nice,
as a newer coach was, oh wait, this is I'm the expert here.
for sure.
They're paying to listen to me. They're paying for me to initiate the difficult conversation.
Mm,
Um, and the same thing of playing the role. Like again, you can almost even put a camera maybe on a green coach and say you're sitting back and you're in an acting class and everyone's like, all right, this is a coach, guys. He's working with a client.
mm,
Like this is the scene. Let's critique it after, and then you they'll be sitting there. People who probably never been a coach before, but they're just actors watching. They'll be like, yeah, it kind of seems like he's unsure of himself.
mm,
I don't know. He's like asking him if he wants to do this. Like, I don't know. Maybe he could have a little more assertion. His eye contact is a little this and that. And um, even that I found just learning from working with coaches,
yeah,
because now I've hired a coach like myself, like hired a personal trainer in the gym that I work at
yeah,
that's busy. She works all the time. So I was like, hey, I want to work with you, not just for my own personal like fitness goals, but for my career goals. Like I want to learn
yeah.
from you. I want to learn how you program, how you communicate with the client. And it's so fascinating seeing how confidence can shift from again from one domain to the next, like seeing say a client in the gym
Mm,
and the way they move, you wouldn't know they're a millionaire by the way they're hinging.
yeah, that is
You
true.
know, you'd have no idea. And that has been an incredible thing. Again, gives me just a lot more respect to everyone that comes in the room,
Mm,
and knowing that they're playing their role outside of the gym, whatever field they're in. If they're an executive, if they're speaking with their chest, and so they're expecting
the same.
people they hire to come with that same level of expertise, excellence, how
Yeah.
they carry themselves, you know?
So when it clicked for you, like in that moment, how did you feel once you started to make that connection of using your background in acting and fortifying that within your coaching? Like, how did that moment feel once you made that connection between the two worlds?
It felt like a little less weight on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Um, it felt like I could actually be me.
Mm,
When I first started with clients, I was almost scared for them to see my Instagram, see my life outside of the gym,
really?
because I would think they would hop on my Instagram. They'd be like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, what is he? He's over here. He's doing this thing. He's what? He's learning Portuguese. Who the fuck is this guy? Like, is he a trainer? And it's gotten honestly a while until I would even bring up what I do. Like clients would ask, like, "Hey, what'd you get up to this weekend?" And during the weekend, I don't know, went to a salsa class and
Yeah.
did a little meditation retreat. I wouldn't say anything. I would just say, "Oh, good, just when I was in the gym."
Very
And
bland. Very.
that itself, yeah, just not saying anything, but then realizing when I did share,
Mm,
again, first it opened up more for them to share about themselves,
hmm.
and I think it also kind of dispelled what. a trainer has to look like.
Mm, true.
Um, I always I always thought I can just hide behind the way I look, and that of course plays a part. I can tell someone I'm a trainer, and they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, obviously, because you look like you work out." And like that makes sense. Um, but now from the background, again, now it's giving me a little more confidence in that I can come as I am, and because man, I smile a lot, I laugh a lot. I'm not a very serious person, I do take things seriously, like in terms of action, in terms of working out. Working out is something I do take very seriously.
Yeah.
Um, but I laugh a lot, and like if you hear me on the floor, like I'm laughing, clients are laughing, and I that's who I am. And there was part of me that felt like, oh no, this can't be this way. I gotta be stern. I gotta be like crossing my arms and like staring at them like this.
With a whole pen and paper, like you're not
So
doing
all
that
that
right.
weight, yeah, you're not doing it right. Like, nah, 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 not like that. Nah, 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 this way. Um, so I think the weight, I was always feeling like, oh, I need more, I need more, I need more. Um, Whereas all I needed was just time,
Mm,
being on a gym floor, being with the same client over and over and over, and realizing, oh, this client shows up week after week. One, because they're committed, but two, because they see value in working with me.
yep.
That's why they're here. So getting out of my way, just being like, Kadrian, just shut up, just go to gym, just shut up, just go.
You know what you said was high key a bar. Was time, right? Like you needed time, needed that experience. If I could talk to me when I first started, I would first maybe punch myself in the chest and just say like, "Can you calm the hell down?" Because the biggest thing I
Mhm.
realized about being a young coach and trying to shorten the gap between you and a great coach is like, there's no way you're gonna get the same clientele, word of mouth, and referrals in your first month. It's fucking impossible. So, if anything, the most compounding interest you want to use with time is how much experience, how much knowledge, and how much of your niche can you work on within the first 3 to 5 years. And then from there, that's your foundation of experience that you then use to compound the next five in terms of selling that service and trying to get that service sold to others. And now you can know how to really market it. That's something that I believe every coach or even anybody that works within a service industry, and especially if you're selling it for yourself, your first 3 to 5 is not making sales. Your first 3 to 5 is learning how to have value. Like you have to perfect the value, and you can't
Mhm.
do it without time. And I mean, I'll say this: I would say, those like me having one client and one client only, like high key, like I was better off like telling myself the truth of like, yeah, this is still good. I got one, as opposed to, oh, I don't got 10.
Yeah.
I don't have 12. Like I legit should have told myself, well, shit, I got one. Been having one for the last 5 months. I'm doing something right. Whatever I'm doing, I need to figure it out so one can go to three and then three go to five. Like it's just a perspective shift that you have to have as a new coach that ain't nobody give me that. Did nobody like show me that? Like if you got one, one can turn to three, three turns to five. But what is it about you with that one? Study that one. That's what you need to focus on.
Yeah.
Like, how did it get there? Why is this one want to be with me for like over a year? And then when I realized what it was like, yeah, this mom was paying me because like, son just needed like a male role model, somebody that was understanding, patient, that offered high level of basketball, but could dilute it to the fundamentals and stuff like that. And so once I understood those qualities and those different things, I was like, all right, I'm gonna start, saying replicating this with other kids and with other parents. And it got to the point where one turned to three, three turned to five, five now was at 10 and 12. And now like I've retained kids for like close to a year, if not more now. Got kids going on 2 years with me as a trainer. And, you know, if now being seventh year now, going into it, um, from just everything I've done. I'll say maybe I'm on year 3 now as a strength coach and trainer, but 7 years just being in the space. Um, you got to make use of the time. I think that's the biggest thing. You got to make use of the time. And to build on top of that, I think I want to talk a bit more about the identity outside of the coach, right? And I felt the same as that way. I felt like as a coach, I can't really have a personal life or share my personal life. Like I would talk to parents and like, oh, what you did this week? And I'm like, oh, nothing much, just coach a few games, da da da. And lo and behold, that's not the truth. Like I definitely was at a dive bar, drunk playing pool up till like 4 in the morning, and trying to get an Uber, and I don't even know how to get the damn Uber working properly because I'm just all over the place. So yeah, it's having a life. It's having a life,
Yeah.
and I and it's weird that in this world we live in, we understand people have lives and stuff like that, but why does the role model have to be perfect? Like that's the biggest
Mhm.
thing I have to ask for anybody. Like, why does the role model have to be perfect, but you have knowledge that everybody else has a real life? Why must I have to present myself as the blueprint for you to be this artificially great person? Because it's a twofold sword that cuts both parties. Because if you don't live up to that perfect reality that I present, you will always think you're never good enough. And if I always present myself as this person for you, I will never have the opportunity to experience life to its fullest capacity outside of being a image for you or for others. So I just want to talk about that. Like, how does it feel now to just share parts of yourself on Instagram or even just period and empower that as opposed to trying to be a um, model fucking citizen to the world? That shit. Like, how does that feel?
Yeah, I will say it does feel a little more liberating in the sense of I think sharing parts of myself
Mm,
have almost served as inspiration for other people. I got a message from someone a few days ago because I used to write. I have a blog where there's a lot of blogs on there, and I haven't written one. My last one I wrote on there was a banger, and that was in April, and I haven't written on it since then. I think almost because it was on Medium that I shared a while ago, and it was one of the
mm.
ones that took off. It was one of the only blogs that ever took off, and it
Oh,
took
I
off
remember
so
that
much
one.
that I was
I remember that one. Yeah.
yes, I was so scared. I was so scared that it took off because I was like, how do I replicate this? Now they all gotta take, and I froze, and I haven't put anything
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
there
That
since.
one hit wonder, huh?
But I had, yeah, a one hit wonder. Huh? Despite I wrote about 60, one of
Mm,
them, it was the 60th one that like blew up. And I remember I had a friend reach out maybe 3 days ago, and he said, "Hey, are you still writing on your blog?" And like, I'd love to see more of your writing.
mm,
And an old version of me would have read that message and took that as, oh, he's questioning my my commitment, my consistency. He's trying to see if I fell off. And whereas now I read that as like, oh wow, my writing had an impact on him,
mm.
and he he shared that with me, and so I bring that back to the fact sharing all these parts of myself. They have impacts on different people,
Yes.
and it brings all these different people into my life. And going back to training or going back to acting, it's allowed me to use the term network so naturally
Yeah.
because a lot more people can relate to me.
Yeah.
Sure, I spend a lot of time in the gym, and I have one friend I'm super close with, and we became really close because I learned Spanish, and we're very close
Mm,
because of that. Whereas when I talk about the gym, I can tell sometimes she almost zones out because she that's not her world, and intimidated. You know, people aren't sometimes intimidated by strength training, and
mm.
it can look very intimidating. But keep myself open and sharing parts of myself have allowed me to almost slowly connect all of these things. So I think just this state of being open and realizing like, oh, I'm a grown man. Like no one hits me on the head for when I share parts of myself. Like maybe when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
if I was sharing something, maybe a teacher would hit, you know, mentally hit me on the head or try to shut me down. That doesn't really happen anymore.
Yeah.
People don't really try to shut me down, and so that's kind of it. Even being in the gym, how I walk on the gym floor, like when I first started, again, I felt like I had to hide. And I didn't want to tell other coaches that I was a actor, or I was doing this and that, because thought they'd just be like, "Get this guy out of here." But the more I shared, now I have a client. There's a trainer on the floor who she works a lot. She has a lot more experience than me. And, she asked me about my language learning because she's been trying to learn Spanish,
Mm.
Portuguese.
Yeah.
So she asked me in like a very endearing way, of just
Yeah.
a very humble way of like, "Hey, how have you been?" Kind of like just that that just that candidness. I
Yeah.
think it almost opened my eyes to other trainers as well. Is I thought to be a trainer, you need to be all. I just go home and I'm on PubMed all day, just reading about these antagonistic muscles and all this nutrition. Whereas, oh wait, these are humans too. That while they're with a client, they're still thinking about what they're doing later. They're still thinking about that
Mm-hmm.
conversation they had with that girl, or what they're gonna eat later, or like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, they really want to go out to a dive bar and all those things. So it opened my eyes to the trainers as well. Is that we're all dynamic, and it may not seem like that. Sure, some may be a little more dynamic, but some are a little more willing to share that how dynamic they are, or
Yeah.
just being in their interest.
I agree. You know, to the point about the PubMed research, I mean, not everybody, and I just got this like from watching Kobe a lot. Not everybody's going to be batshit crazy about being the best at what they do. That's not for everybody. I mean, it's only reserved for those who truly have a certain type of, I guess, passion or enjoyment from it, and the rest of everybody else is still human. And for me, I mean, I'm very obsessive. I mean, like everything I do is towards, um, what I do for sports performance and basketball coaching. Everything's towards, even this podcast right now is still part of that process. But the biggest thing I learned is the more you explore your humanistic side, the more value you find within the process of connectivity. So what's the point of being extremely great at one's craft if you can't talk to nobody about it and you can't build with anyone within it? So to that point, it's like, yeah, like I got no problem reading PubMed, but I'm gonna definitely like hit up a homie, like, hey dog, like I just read this research article, man. Like, just said like if you focus on a specific angle of a body, like you can have adaptations towards like the court. Oh, for real, yeah. Like if we do like a split stance, like landmine squat at a certain angle, like it can translate to like a certain cut on the court, like a curl cut, because of like the degree of where the weight's bloated on the leg and how much force is being put upon the knee, ankle, and hip at that angle. Like it shows that translation, and then we can just go chop it up over lunch, see what the
Mm.
research talking about, go to the court, try it out, maybe run some ones. Like, man, fuck that bullshit you talking about last week. Like, we're gonna run it up right here. Like, it's just like you can still be obsessed about the craft, but you have to bring both worlds together. Because what's the point of being a lonely great person? Like, I swear to you, it doesn't really serve anybody. Because the worst coach is the one that knows everything but can't talk to anybody. That's the worst coach ever. You're a brilliant mind, you know
Mm.
everything, but you cannot talk to nobody. Nobody wants to be with you, nobody likes you, nobody wants to even see you. And you sat there and studied and probably know more than whoever's getting paid the most money, but because you lack the soft skills, it hurts you. It hurts you bad. So, I mean, I definitely understand that in terms of having that humanistic feel. Another question I want to ask is, when it comes to your dietary lifestyle. How do you resist the because you're pretty good at having a great, you know what I'm saying, way of showing what you eat on a regular basis and I guess meeting your caloric needs and stuff like that. But for a guy like myself who I'm telling you right now, there's no way I'm gonna wake up and be disciplined the way how you and Swanee are when it comes to making sure I get my, you know, my healthy fats, healthy carbs, healthy proteins and stuff like that. How do you put yourself in that mindset to take nutrition a lot more seriously than others? Because we always hear the term practice what you preach. But for you, I think you make it kind of fun, man. Like I enjoy watching when you post your meals because like it's kind of funny sometimes. You'll post some expensive ass coffee or some expensive ass pastries and stuff like that and you know, joke about it. And then you'll also still show like, you know, I got some sardines, I got some eggs, I got some avocados, something very affordable as well. But um I enjoy watching you. Sounds funny, but like I enjoy watching you go out there and go eat. Like how does that process feel for you on a consistent basis? Like how do you go about it?
That's a great question. I was thinking about this yesterday, because yesterday I had a day where I was kind of going from place to place, and I've been trying to minimize eating out. And I got home and did like a mental calculation of how much protein I ate, and I realized I didn't really eat much protein. So I just grabbed a can of tuna
Hmm.
and just put like some minced garlic in the can and just ate it.
Yeah.
And it was okay. Like, it wasn't the most gourmet thing I've eaten.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I thought about afterwards, um, like, hey, if I were to record like what I was eating right now, putting this online, like, how would this? What would people think about this? Would people be like, oh, like can't eat like that? Like, no way. And I realized for me, I since I was a child, I remember when I was a child, my mom used to, my dad, they called me Cake Boy, and ev- my ex's girlfriends, my ex partners, their parents, sorry, their parents always loved cooking when I came because they knew I would eat and
Eat
eat and
everything.
eat. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So food for me holds a very very tender place in my heart. I love food, and whenever I travel, I'm on the plane. I'm literally hearting restaurants in areas wherever I go, even if I heart like 18 restaurants. There's no way I'm going to eat at 18 restaurants, but I have them all ready. So I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm doing today. I don't know, but I know I'm going to hit this spot for breakfast. I'm going to hit this spot for lunch. I'm going to hit that. Um, so food for me, I just love food, and I think the fact that I love food is the fact I love all food.
Mm.
So it's given me a lot more versatility, a lot more options that I can eat healthy things and still love it. Um, nutrition always felt relatively simple for me for that very reason.
Mm.
I can just, but spending a lot more time, like these days, I don't eat meat. I just eat like fish and eggs is my main source of animal protein. It's just from fish and eggs and like whey protein. But it was really, I think, from this year I started running a lot more, and as I was running a lot more, I was just doing more research on energy systems and specifically like the aerobic system, and
Yeah.
noticing like, oh wow, I'm so hungry all the time. Every time I'm running like long distances, more than an hour, I'm starving. And I think I just got a little more fascinated with food, and also like there's part of me that I'm like, man, I just shared it and I didn't add all of this expertise behind it because again, the way I am is like I really can't speak on things confidently if I don't truly understand them. And
Respectfully, I understand that for sure.
so for me, even nutrition, I'm currently taking a nutrition course because I love to really understand more of like the inner makings of the macros and
Mm.
how it differs from person to person. But I just decided like, hey, let me just share what I eat because I know I eat a lot of good stuff, and it's clear that when I step on the scale, it, it's it's in a good place. So I just shared everything that I eat, and I tried my best not to, because at first I was like, oh, well, I'll just share high protein stuff. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not how I really eat though. I eat a lot of high
Mm,
protein, but like you're missing all these other things I'm eating. Like
yeah.
I, the last day I ate 2 boxes of pizza. On this past weekend, I ate 2 boxes of pizza, like
Hold on.
in
What
one
type?
sitting.
What type? What
It took
type?
probably
What,
about 11 minutes.
what type?
It was, I'm not gonna lie, it was just cheese.
Just cheese. We just cheese.
It was just plain cheese.
I'm a margarita
It
fiend.
was
I,
just
I,
cheese.
I love a good margarita pizza.
Yeah, just usually, yeah, okay. Yeah, margarita. Usually I would get a margarita from this spot, but this time it was just the cheese. Um, but uh, yeah, nutrition for me, again, the fact that I love food so much, it just felt so easy.
Mm,
It just feels so easy to eat for me. Like I'm hungry right now, man. And I just, um, um, but as long as I was like, okay, let me just add protein to whatever I eat. Let me just try to hit protein no matter what.
mm-hmm.
So like I don't really track much except for protein. And protein is probably the one I'm best at. And I now know like usually what I've eaten throughout the day. I can just do the math quickly on a calculator. Okay, I'm probably at about this.
Mm,
And I never usually go for some people go for body weight of hitting 1 gram per body weight. And I weigh I think 205 and I can tell you I'm not eating 205 grams of protein every day. It's in the hundreds, somewhere in the hundreds per day.
gotcha.
But I
Gotcha.
just tried not to eat um, chocolate, candy, soda, a lot of chips. Try not to eat that. Funny enough, man, I'm gonna bring it back to acting. The only time I'm eating chips is because these goddamn acting commercials. I'm auditioning for a chip commercial, and in the instructions it says you must eat chips in this audition. So I gotta go to the store, buy a bag of chips, eat it for the audition. Now I'm sitting here after the audition and just downing the
Just snacking
chips.
away. Just snacking away. You ain't got no choice. You're not gonna waste that. You're not gonna waste
You
that at
gotta
all.
I'm not gonna waste that. I'm not gonna waste it. So, but I'm okay with that. So
Yeah.
I think that sense of the fact, man, I love food so much. Like, I just think about food from all the different cultures. It brings me so much joy to know there's so much food out there that I haven't tried, and all these
Mm.
combinations that I've yet to combine. Um, that's 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 just it. Like, I just love it, man.
So bringing up food, I'm about to cause a lot of hysterical beef right now. No pun intended. I'm about to say, which Caribbean culture has the best type of patty? You have the Trinis, you have the Jamaican patties.
Unf-
Like which culture has the best patty? I'm all ears.
Unfortunately, I'm not the best person to answer this question because I
Ooh,
don't eat meat,
ah,
so I can't.
ah.
I
So let's.
just.
I'm gonna switch it up. I'm switch it up. Are you the type to dive into ramen and pho?
Yes,
Okay, okay. We're gonna start there. We're gonna
yes,
start there.
definitely,
All right.
definitely.
Post club on a Saturday night. It would, let's say, post club, club type, club scene. Let's just say slightly on the EDM vibes, slightly on the EDM vibes, slightly on the EDM vibes.
Mhm.
Leaving like
Slightly.
slightly, because I ain't too EDM heavy. I'm more in the house. I can do a house.
I hear I
I
hear
did
you.
an EDM, and EDM ain't me. Hey, hey, I get down. I ain't getting down like that.
They get down.
we know we know how them EDM parties be. They be going to 10. And ain't yeah, dog. I'm good. I'm good. I'll do a little house music, a little EDM, little but leaving the club 2 o'clock. Choosing pho or ramen. Which one?
It's gonna have to be full,
Mm, good choice.
cause because the lineup for ramen is gonna be crazy.
There you go. I think I like pho better
That's
post
why.
club.
There's always a
I like pho
yeah.
better post club because like it's not as heavy at the same exact time. It's like, dog, I rather have more on the soup side and less on like the soup and noodle side, if it makes sense.
Yes, that makes sense.
I ain't like, dog, I ain't got it in me. My eyes ain't even working properly. Like, I don't even know where I'm at. Like, I'm not trying to do no work. Just give me the spoon. Just give me the
Give
spoon.
me the spoon.
Let me just hold the bowl like this and just and just eat. That is all I'm trying to do in that moment. I don't know. I don't want to think. Just let me know when the Uber's outside and somebody throw me in the house. I'll sleep right by the door. I'll be
Yes.
perfectly fine.
Yep. That's the way it goes. Even 2 a.m. and also the day after. If
Oh,
I'm even say I've been hungover in a minute, but like full hungover, it's like replenishment,
oh, for sure.
power up.
For sure. No, no, for sure. Most definitely. Don't let me get some green tea to go with it. It's over with.
Yeah.
Oh, nah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a
Yeah.
wrap.
Then
You know, one cool thing that you do a lot, like you're heavy on the calisthenics. Like you even made me get some goddamn bars, like some dip bars, like heavy on the calisthenics.
mm,
As a coach and as a trainer, I'll tell you this right now. I appreciate that inspiration because god damn, I did not know the hidden gems of calisthenics. Like I always program it
mm,
for a few weeks, but like dog. Like I'll say this. The amount of muscular endurance and coordination you get, it widens that base for strength. And I've seen my bench increase. I've seen my shoulder press increase off of dips, and I was like, all right, well, let me start doing more body weight squats. Like, well, it ain't really doing much. So I started like doing like a lot of squats with like sandbags, stuff like that. Not a lot of weight,
mm,
maybe 30, 40 max, but just something loaded because like I got pretty strong legs. So 20 dips for me, okay, like 20 to 25 dips per set, okay, like I'm gonna feel that. But 25 air squats, I'm not feeling that shit. So I'm like, let me go ahead and load it up a bit. Yeah, man, I'm starting to see why you should always keep like why motion is lotion, but more important, like why you should incorporate like a lot of different calisthenics in your regimen. It just allows me, can't speak for nobody else's body, but it just allows me to feel like my coordination and movement is better, like everything is moving in more sync. I feel like I'm able to know what position works best in that movement. I can get myself in the right type of groove pattern. And then when I actually load weight on top of that, it's like hot butter. Like it's just easy. I'm just flowing.
yeah.
Like my bench is smoother, my straight presses are smoother, even my squat form is getting better. And it's like, dog, this is lit. And then like adding that and running miles is like them abs, like dog, I don't got to do no sit-ups. Like there's some abs right there. Like I see that looking kind of cut. So like I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like that's high key a cheat code if you don't do anything else. Like calisthenics, some slightly loaded squats, run some miles, like you will look really damn good.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. You know, appreciate you bringing that up because I was like, oh my god, we definitely need to talk about that. You know, that all came to be during COVID,
S- I can see
of
that.
course.
I can see that. I can see that. You had the gloves on probably. You definitely had the gloves on, or you was raw dog. Which one?
I was right. You mean when you say gloves, like with working out?
Yeah, of course, them gloves for sure. I
No,
mean, of course, them gloves
wow.
because the other gloves got to stay on you. This it's crazy. It's 2024. You have to have those gloves on you. You got no choice. You be walking out your house
We're
without
talking
those
right now.
gloves. I feel sorry for you in these streets. These streets is a cesspool.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the fake workout gloves. You got the construction you got the construction worker gloves on at the park looking crazy. We talking about those gloves.
Yeah, those ones. No, sir, no. Just plain calluses,
Great,
calluses.
you're a great man. I'm looking at folks crazy, so you're a great man.
Appreciate you, man. But I was grateful because I lived near a park, the perfect park, I think, to become a well-rounded, well-rounded athlete, well-rounded just person, just
Yeah.
good shape. This park it has a track,
Mm.
and then it has a hill. About the hill is about
How many meters?
10%. It's about a 100-meter hill,
Ooh, at a 10% incline.
and it's about, yeah, about a 9% incline,
Ooh, that's some good
and
work. Hold
so it's
up,
steep.
that's some good work.
That's a good work.
Like
Good work.
that, I
And at the
like.
bottom of the hill, they got the track. So the bottom of the hill is the track,
Yeah.
and then in the corner there's a calisthenics park. They got the dip bar, and they got the pull up bar.
Oh nah.
And so
Oh, they
all I
trying they
did,
trying to build men over
pull
there.
ups, dips, and hills.
They trying to build men
I
over
built
there.
men.
They trying to build men over there.
Yeah.
Ain't no kids coming from that park, bro.
I don't know what government planted this park here. It's I don't know. But yeah, that park right there, that was it. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, let me just do hills. Let me do hills. Let me do some pull-ups, and let me do dips. I just did pull-ups and dips, and I did hills. And my conditioning from the hills was amazing. And then
Mm-hmm.
my strength from doing pull-ups and dips. And then when I went from pull-ups and dips and I bought a pair of rings, that's where like my upper body strength like significantly increased. Like significantly.
Could you
And
like dive in that just a bit? Like how has that taken to the next level with the rings, and how does that help you like from performance aspect?
yeah. So um so I'll relate to a client. A client I'm working with right now is the first client where I'm now incorporating rings in our programming. And I incorporated because again, she showed that she could do a pull-up, she can
Mm-hmm.
do a body weight dip already. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, she has the requisite, I think, strength to not go crazy when she touches a pair of gymnastic rings.
Yeah.
And reason why I say crazy is because, as most people probably could tell, gymnastic rings, they move.
Yeah.
They're moving all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
They're not fixed. They're not nailed down like a pull-up bar. And so the moment you press into them, the first movement I have people try to perfect is just I guess the isometric hold, the top of a dip position.
Got you.
Just right there. Just have it at shoulder width.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure the rings are at shoulder width, and just hold up there. And you'll find when you're up there at first, you're shaking. You're just you're just losing seizure. You're trying to shake, trying to control yourself,
Yeah, I've been there.
and yeah, you're just moving, and you realize very quickly you think how much how much of your body needs to stay braced.
Yes.
For you. So you're pushing hard down on the shoulders, you're squeezing your glutes, your feet are tight, and then you're pushing. So you're pretty much, it almost feels full body
Yeah.
because you're bracing from head to toe. And from there, I was fascinated by that. I didn't know the carryover even into the gym because, again, the gyms were closed at this time.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, there's something to this. And at that time, I knew a little bit about instability, but I didn't know about the carryover with just I knew that, of course, naturally force production would go lower because it's unstable, which makes sense. But I found I would just spend time there learning how to
Yeah.
stay controlled of just, it felt like meditation.
Mm.
It felt like, again, my body shaking. Oh, why is my body shaking? Can I breathe? Can I relax? Can I just stay
Mm.
still here for 10 seconds, 15 seconds? And so that's what I kind of did throughout the summer of just, again, I would hold in that position and then slowly low, even doing dips.
Yeah.
The thing about rings is they keep you honest. You
Yes,
know,
they do.
if you try kipping on a pair of rings, you're done.
Who?
Your
Who?
shoulders.
Who? Shit. Keep it on the ring. Hey, show me him, please. He one of them
Him.
ones. He one of them
You show me
ones.
him. I'm gonna give him. Yeah, show me him. Show me him.
Jesus.
So
Yeah,
it was that doing dips. You couldn't go in and out. You had to go down controlled.
for
So it was that
sure.
time under tension, really, too, of muscle staying contracted, staying slow, going in and coming out. And I remember I just felt so taxed from being on the rings. Like it felt like just my body just felt so sore that I was
Yeah,
like, okay, let me just put the rings to the side for a bit. I'm gonna go back to the bars. And then I remember going back to the bar, and it felt
like
like a
butter,
machine,
like butter, like
like
butter.
bar.
Yeah,
The moment I'm up in the position, ooh. smooth. Like you said, it's just butter. The pull-ups felt smooth, full range of motion through the dips all the way down below my shoulder. Everything felt so smooth. And I was like, oh. But I think the biggest thing for me,
Mm,
because I think, again, a lot of people in general, we're so caught up with numbers in the gym. And of
mm,
course, numbers, they tell us a lot. They tell us a lot. Some people are married to numbers, some people are not. But I remember going in the gym. This was when I couldn't really bench 2 plates at the time.
mm-hmm.
I remember going in the gym after using the rings during that summer, and there was something about just looking at 2 plates. Like I just looked at it and I was like, I feel like I could move that thing. Like it just felt like in my body. I'm like, I feel like I can
Had
move
that
that thing. So I
aura,
just
had
sat
that
down.
aura in you.
Yeah, I just had that aura. And I was like, let me just see this. Let me see this. So I went, and then boom, I was hitting it for reps for the first time. And I never bench. I don't bench. Like I'm not I
Yeah.
find my shoulder gets very uncomfortable with the barbell. So I never bench, just doing dips. And that's where I was like, oh, okay. Huh, these rings, these ring things, huh? Uh,
It's pretty-
these ring things. These ring things. And then going back to core, like I don't do as much direct core training except for like hanging leg raises.
yeah. You got an ab wheel?
But I found all the yeah, I got an ab wheel. I got an ab wheel too.
Okay.
I actually lent it to one of my
I'm gonna tell you right now. Ab wheel, backward bending, and a lot of side bend, like anything spine related. For me,
Mhm.
took my core to a whole different level. Like I do hot yoga. It helps a lot, just with a lot of different things. But the biggest thing I got from hot yoga was like our backward bending, any of our backward bending poses. Right, I started to see a lot of posterior strength increase in my RDLs and a lot of things I was doing. So I'm like, okay, if backward bending helps, what about like a lot of just flexion? Just a lot of flexion. Let me just try. So I always had an abule, never used it because like I just wanted a 6 pack, and I'm doing these motherfuckers, and like I ain't seen no 6 pack. I just threw it in the back of the closet. So like, f you, I don't care. So I started like doing like bear crawl, ab wheel rollouts. I would do ab wheel rollouts at different angles, and man, it helped me a lot. I would say keep whatever athleticism I still have as I age, and I can definitely say the biggest thing that helped using the ab wheel in terms of like getting that interior section of the body a lot stronger is that I got strength with length, meaning that like a lot of different positions felt like I can own the positions more. And so now when I did more bear crawl variations of walks or any type of like loaded carries and stuff like that, I wasn't dipping to the side as much, or I wasn't like asymmetrically holding one side, but it's kind of like with a limp. Is like I really felt like I could engage a lot of deeper core transversal muscles the whole entire time I was moving because using the ab wheel. So um, just to kind of add on top of that point, like direct core work, I think is something that we don't explore enough of too much within like the community of strength training. Like we got our dead bugs, we have our transverse abdominis holds, like our hollow plank holds, we have our weighted carries, overhead, briefcase, farmer's carry, offset. We have the works, but I don't think we do enough deep range of motion, full range of motion work like how you would see in a Pilates class, a hot yoga class, even just calisthenics, leg raises, and different things. I believe the relative threshold is low compared to a max strength threshold. And that's the gap that that we're talking about is, you know, the more relatively you get stronger within your strength index from yourself to your body weight and how much you can throw that relative strength around and own that movement and increase your motor control, motor pattern, and just overall capacity of movement from a neuromuscular standpoint, you become more efficient. And I think overall, that's what we're getting at. It's like the efficiency of movement and owning movement gets better, and the rate of speed of contraction gets better. And now, when you add that weight to it to challenge that, you have a better foundation as opposed to I can't do shit with my body, so I'm gonna just add weight to it. So it's like
Yeah.
you ain't shit already. Let's add more to it. And now your ain't shit is getting worse. So in layman's
Yeah.
term, it's like, I've never done dips. Like I used to always hate dips working out, but like dog, like just seeing you do dips and put, I'm like, man, this motherfucker do this shit every day, like every damn day. Fuck it, I'm gonna go get me some. I'm gonna see what this thing talking about. And dog, I mean, not gonna lie, man. I feel better now at 28 than I did at 21. Like I'm dead ass. Feel way better at
Yeah.
28 now than I did at 21. And my joints feel healthier. I feel more fluid in everything I do. So just to go back to the core work, man, I think that was a game changer too. Was finding more ways to incorporate a lot of direct core and full body core movements that would put myself in positions that were brand new.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Thank you for bringing that up. Do you have a GHD?
Oh, I'll be abusing that bitch. Like, nah, like I be running through that thing, dog. I ain't gonna lie. Any exercise you trying to put on it, I done been through. Like,
Yeah.
if I needed any minimalist setup right now, I'm gonna tell you right now. Pull up bar, dip bars, GHD, sandbag, medicine
Mm.
ball, and I would probably say 175-pound dead ball, and that's all I need. I can make it work.
That's
I can make shit shake with that. I can make shit shake with that. We're good money. We can make anything happen.
yeah.
GHD, anything I need is there. Anything. And the crazy part about it, I got into using the GHD because of CrossFit.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say.
Yeah. When CrossFit first was like blowing up at the gym I was at, like Reebok was like doing little like camps and events there. So like they brought like 4 GHD machines and put it inside the gym. And I'm in high school, bro. Fuck, I know about a GHD machine. My first experience was those full range of motion sit ups.
Yes. Yeah, those
Different,
those are
right?
wild.
Different, right?
Different.
Think your damn pet was gonna break.
Yes. I feel like your spine was gonna break.
Yo, it's like I never knew what fascia was at 18, but I kind of had an understanding of it because of that. Like you can feel everything working.
Yes. Yeah.
Since
And it's an
that's on the
interesting
top,
point you
go
brought
ahead.
up. Yeah, it's an interesting point of working through spinal flexion, bending, and whatever you say about CrossFit is just if you look at the CrossFit athletes, men and women, their midsection shredded.
Of course. What? Cut. Cut. I just be like, damn, like, can we trade? Like, I'm going to Cabo next week. Can we trade? Like, let me get that off you.
Just for the weekend.
This for the weekend, bro. Like,
Oh,
what's how much is
real
it? Is
quick.
it an 8% APR rate? How much is the credit, man? Like, let me know, please.
I'll be a crazy business flex in the next coming years, huh?
Yeah, trading abs is nasty work.
Yeah, that is nasty work.
But on the topic, I guess CrossFit, which is in CrossFit, High Rocks. How was that? How was that for you?
High Rocks, man. High Rocks was very fun. Very, very, very fun. Um, I've been past few years developing my skill of running
Yeah,
further, running faster for longer periods of time, and it's been enjoyable. It's been enjoyable. Um, but I wouldn't say I've been having a blast doing it.
mm.
Um, Similar to what we brought up initially about identity. I was joining some run clubs, and I joined in like a paid run club with a coach,
Okay.
and meeting people. But never really developed like real relationships within the run
Mm.
community. You know, these people sometimes they're going on runs, they're getting drinks after, or they're hanging out outside of running.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, I Yeah, I've yet to kind of develop that. So there was a part of me that felt like an outsider when it came to running.
yeah. Mm.
Like I was kind of a wolf doing my own thing. And but I still enjoyed it because I was like I was seeing the impact it was having on me in the gym. When I'm say
Mm.
doing conditioning in the gym, it felt like I recover quick and I could just keep going and going. And I really just like that feeling. And so High Rocks, funny enough, how High Rocks came to be was this year I was actually training for to run a full marathon.
Okay.
And this was in June. And you know, my mileage was high. I was running well, and you know, I was things. My numbers were getting short. Times were getting shorter, so I was improving, following the plan the coach prescribed to me, and I started having some ankle problems in my feet, my tibia,
Mm.
and so I ended up that slowed down, and I was clear that I'm like, okay, I'm at this rate. There's no way I can perform this marathon. So at that time, High Rocks hype was coming to Toronto because we were about 4 months out from High Rocks Toronto,
Mm.
and at that time I had two clients reach out to me, two women in their 40s reach out saying, "Hey, I signed up for High Rocks. Like, I want to do this thing. Can you help me? Can you help me out?" And at first I was like, what the fuck is High Rocks? Like I almost didn't even know
Boy
it. I
got
had
the
to search up the
dig.
workout.
And my man's got the
Yeah,
dig.
I got big, figured out everything about High Rocks, the order of all the exercises. But what I loved was when I learned the exercises, my background, because I was already into running, I hired a running coach and all these exercises, it was strength based. I was like, okay, this is my wheelhouse
Mm.
because these are exercises that focus on strength and then aerobic capacity. So it was very easy for me to just connect dots and learn very quickly how to train for this. And so while I was programming for these clients, I started getting the itch. And
Mm.
like I said to you, like I said to you earlier, like it's hard for me to coach anything that I don't haven't experienced.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, I'm in no position to be training anybody. That's how I felt. I was like, I'm in no position to be training anybody on High Rocks if I've never done a High Rocks. That's just how my brain works.
Of
Of course, some
course.
people will be like, no, no, that's not true. It's not true. You don't need to. And they're correct. I had someone say that to me, like, oh, well, you don't need to be participating in this like sport to be coaching. I'm like, you're right. You're right. I hear you. But this is how my brain works. I need to be touching it. I need to be feeling it. I need to know what it feels like because the workouts I was prescribing to my clients, like I'll give you one example of a
Okay.
workout. Because we were so close to when they signed up, we were already in that specificity phase,
Mm.
that almost like peak race where it's kind of like we couldn't do much base building here because we're already like 4 weeks out. So now we just gotta go straight into it of the specificity of the workout. So one workout was as many rounds as possible, or four. It was about 4 or 5 rounds. 10 goblet squats, or not 10 barbell squats, uh, of whatever weight relative to your strength, and then 80 meters of sandbag lunges,
Mm.
and then 40 meters sled push, like race weight, which is different for men and women, but
Mm-hmm.
heavy. 40 meters of sled push, and then you do a 500-meter run and you'd repeat. So you did that about 5 times. And I remember giving this to a client and I'm watching her, she's doing it. She's she's dying. She's dying while she's doing this workout. And just seeing the transition phase was probably the most memorable of like when they would finish on the sled push, they're like they cave to the ground on their knees, but they gotta get up because they gotta start the run now. Seeing like them in that moment where they finished one exercise and they had to move to the next one,
Yeah.
um it was kind of emotional, man. I was watching and I remember after that exercise, after that workout, I was like, I need to do higher. I need to do this. I need to know what this feels like
Mm.
so that I can talk more and connect with them and relate to them more on a deeper level. And so again, then I jumped into it, did the same workouts, and they were hard, man. But fast forward all that because again, this was about a 4 week time frame.
Mm.
Doing the actual race what I loved about it was how dynamic it felt. Um,
Hmm.
because what's so cool about High Rocks is you can go on the official website and it has all the data for every single athlete who's ever put on a bib. So you can see all the data of how fast they did their sled push, how fast it took them to the moment you finish your sled push,
Yeah.
you have to leave. They call it the rock zone. It's the area where all the exercises happen. You have to leave there and start your run. So it calculates the time it takes you from when you're done your sled push to when you exit the area and start your
Yeah.
run. So everything is accounted for, and so it's cool how much data you get of like noticing, oh, this guy's a really strong runner, but he struggles with his lunges,
Hmm.
because you can see in the time this guy's great with burpee broad jumps. He was first out of his whole age group for burpee broad jumps, but on the sled pull, he's clearly lacking strength because he was like last place on the sled pull.
So he can be highly
And
elastic on the
so
burpees or the broad jump, but he lacks some type of like overall strength. It's force reduction with
yes,
the sled pulls. Hmm.
sled pull with the
Hmm.
row, with the ski
Got you. So
erg. So that's what I found
got you.
so that's what was so interesting. Where it's like
No, that
with
is because
running,
it is because like
I can't.
it's like a combine basically.
Yeah, it's like a combine.
Yeah.
Like there was one dude who did it, and football background. You can see like he's those types of dudes that are strong. You see it in their traps. Like this guy's traps were thick, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
just right in the traps, just
Just
like
just just right
like
here.
a cobra.
Just right here.
You
Just
know,
like just no neck, dog.
just
We
right
just
here.
definitely played 10
Oh,
years.
neck. And I'm like, this guy push weight. He's done his cleans, he's doing his shrugs. Like he can push weight. And I looked at his data and I saw he was like second place on the sled push, sled pull. And then I
Hmm.
saw he was slower in the burpee broad jumps and the runs. So it's just so that's what I found so cool about it was it felt like an obstacle course with running.
Yeah, and it did look like that, but like you like after like watching you do it and clips of everybody else doing it, I think the coolest thing about it I saw was like this is probably the era of like where fitness is cool as hell, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Like it's no like I'm looking fit to pull anybody or to look better. It's like nah, like it's just cool. It's just fun. It's cool to compete and do it. Like, and that's the biggest thing I saw from it. Like it was so many walks of life on the videos you were posting doing it.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And that's such a great observation. One of the coolest things about the race was the categories. So you had all the categories are as follows. You had the men's pro and the women's pro.
Okay.
So these are the weights are increased. The distances are all the same, but the weights are just heavier.
Okay, I can see
So
that.
these are just for people who are serious. They're just ready to go to war. These people who don't play around, they're trying to maybe qualify for championships. Like
Mm,
these are just people who are trying to lock in. And then under that, you have the open, where it's just the standard weight. It's still heavy, but again, it's a little more friendly to most people. Still difficult, but again, a little they call it open, of course.
mm,
And then all the other categories you have, again, it would be men's pro, men's open, women's open, and then you had men's doubles, women's doubles.
mm,
So now you're pairing up, you're splitting up the exercises with somebody,
mm-hmm,
and then they had mixed. So it's men and a woman, and then they're splitting up the exercises. So
mm.
I did the solo one, but I was there the whole day, and I found it so cool to watch all the people who were teaming up. I saw a dad and his son. I saw couples.
Yeah,
I saw just friends, best friends, people that look like they probably just met in the gym, just gym buddies. And that there I found was the most coolest thing to witness was, like you said, it was cool. It
yeah.
it was just cool to go out and race together. And it just looked like a vibe. And watching the videos, I was like, wow, this looks like a vibe. And like you said, this is a new thing. Like this, even after that, I had these people coming to me in the gym where I was training at Ferris, someone who's probably hasn't run 5K in their life. And they're like, oh, I want to do high rocks. Like, what do I do? Like, I saw my friend post about it. I want to do it.
That's the era we're in, bro.
We
Like,
know, oh, didn't even know what the exercises were.
just
Didn't even know what the
just
exercises
I
were.
just want to
Didn't know you
do
had
it.
to run.
Just want to do it.
Just want to do it.
We got this thing
Just
in
put me in.
Atlanta
Put me in,
called
coach.
called Hills for Atlanta, right? And it's in Piedmont Park. It's on the front half of the park, and it's two hills. You got the main hill you'll see off of 10th Street by the tavern. That's right there. Then you got the bigger hill, literally just walking distance, and everybody just running up hills and stuff like that. And dog, it's like the people I know, some people that I know do it. Like they're really into fitness doing it. Then you got people just doing it just cause, to your point, like, hey, I just saw my friend do it. I'm doing it, and I'm like, I can't even get you to work out with me, so we just gonna skip. We just gonna skip everything. We just gonna run up hills for an hour. like bump the fundamentals, dog. Like scrap it,
Yeah.
throw it out the window. We just running hills.
Yeah.
I'm like, dog, that the era we're in is like, man, social media. I blame the pandemic, but social media is a blessing and a distraction because it's like CrossFit's been around forever. I mean, CrossFit doesn't really have that type of turnout like that. It took a while. It took a long while
Yeah.
to get to where it is now. Bro, literally, I don't know what the hell High Rocks was until 2 months ago. And High Rocks now is literally everywhere. Like everywhere. And I'm like, that's how attached we are now to these devices. So we're like, you can literally just like blow up overnight. Just like that. Because it's just crazy. But I like that though, because it's like, I like the fact that people are so quick to do something now. I just like the openness of how we're just trying to like, yeah, I'll try it. Yeah, I'll try pickleball. I'll be an old man for once and play pickleball. Now there's a whole competitive pickleball league. Like who in their right mind? Like we used to pickleballs for geriatric people to get out of bed and do something active, and it was a watered down tennis game. We've taken watered down tennis that was made for older adults to just sit there, move their joints, and be healthy and be active into a professional sport. We have trainers now for pickleball, and I just be like, dog, only in America. Only in America. like, if I get kids and like in my 40s and I'm watching like my kids watch Olympics and I see pickleball on TV, I might lose my shit. I just might. But that's the power. But that's the power of this era. And that's why I'm saying, like, I think it's just cool to see that, man. Cause like just watching it's like, I don't know, I just like watching stuff like that just happen. I just like when I just see a whole bunch of people just do something new or try things out. It's just wholesome. That's the best word. It's just extremely wholesome. It's extremely fun. And I believe that's the best thing about fitness that just doesn't get talked about enough, is that it brings everybody out. And that's the most important part. And I guess to kind of like bring everything back full circle, because we did touch on a lot of different points from, training, acting. I think there's one important point I kind of want to bring up before the podcast even ends. From growing up to where you are now as an individual, like did you ever see yourself to where you are now? And after you answer that question on the back half, where do you see yourself going forward?
I'll say growing up, having visions
Mm-hmm.
and in the formal sense, not in the quote unquote spiritual sense, but having visions of where I want to be, where I want to go, um, was never really cultivated for me.
Mm.
I never, growing up, I never learned how to cultivate it. I never knew the value of having a vision. It just didn't make sense. Never felt like it was the true answer if I ever said anything. Um, so when I was in grade 12, if you were to say, hey, like you'll be moving cities, you'll be a trainer, you'll be coaching people on movement, and you'll, at first I was like, okay, maybe, because I like the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense, maybe. Acting, no. Acting kind of just happened. All these things kind of just happened. It wasn't a moment where I looked at a coach or I looked at a movie and I was like, oh, this is gonna be it. It just kind of happened. And to that point, this idea of it just happening, um, throughout it all, though, as things have changed, the law has stayed similar. And this, I like to think I'm a nice person,
Okay.
and it sounds funny. It sounds funny to say, but I think about my whole life, and I think I've been a nice guy, like kind to people,
Mm.
and that has gotten me in a lot of doors. Because it's crazy how simple it seems to just be a nice guy, and sometimes it seems it can be difficult to stay nice, to stay kind, and sometimes people just wanted to be around you because you're just a chill guy. You don't cause problems. You're
Mm.
not bumping heads with everybody. There may be a disagreement, but the way you go about disagreeing with someone, that you can still keep them around, I
Yeah.
think, I felt was always going to be part of my life. Um, but moving forward, where I see myself again, because I look back the past 3 years, so different than the next 3 years. I'm excited for the next 3 years, um, of stepping more into roles of leadership. I remember a year, I think it was over 2 years ago, where I was like, damn, maybe I need to be a freaking manager at fucking Starbucks or something.
Oh, Jesus
And not
Christ.
Starbucks, not Starbucks. It was more or less, not Starbucks. It
Okay.
was more or less feeling like I needed to be a manager, feeling like
Okay.
I needed to be in a role as a leader.
Gotcha.
So
Cause
scratch
Starbucks,
Starbucks. Okay.
cause I'm gonna tell you right now, like y'all be fucking up names. So let's not do that, okay? Let's not be the manager at Starbucks and write my name with a H or write my name with an H
I
O
know.
W. Let's not do that. Okay, I don't wanna go to Starbucks no more because of that. I just go to
No,
Dunkin'. I don't care.
I don't do none of that. But the formal role of a leader, I realize it takes a lot out of me,
Mm,
but in a good way. Like I teach classes. I've been teaching classes, and for example, on the weekend I taught 4 classes, and they're all back to back. And there's moments where there's about a 15-minute gap in
cap.
between each
Hmm.
class, and you 15 minutes, in the trainer world as a coach, 15 minutes
It's
is no
five
time at
seconds.
all.
It's 5 seconds. It's 5 seconds. You
You don't
reset the
put the kids
room. You look up and it's
one
like
in the
it.
room.
You reset. You look up. It's time to coach. Somebody walking in. Hey,
Everybody
Sean, how you
knows they're
doing?
there
It's like,
stretching. So
can I breathe?
to that point, can I breathe? So to that point, of course, again, really better at being smooth my setup. But those 15 minutes, sometimes I'll have 6 minutes, and I'll go in the back
Yeah.
room, and sometimes I'll just sit there, and don't want to say a word to anybody because I know when I come out, not in this way of like fuck everybody, but just this period of the music's off. Let me just be quiet and just sit here and not say anything. So I hide in the room, and then I walk back out, and everyone's here ready for the class, and people are looking at me, just saying hi, 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 and I use yes. This is quite an energy exchange. The amount of energy you're putting out, it's very normal, and it's okay
Mm.
to feel depleted. But I'm okay with this depletion, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
because of what's coming out.
Yeah. It's gonna
The
reward
energy
you.
I'm giving. Yes, so it's not a depletion of the Starbucks manager. That depletion. That's a different type of depletion.
That's
Where
that's that's like
it's not.
that's
It's
pride. I think that's pride being lost to that point. A little bit of pride is like, damn, man.
yeah.
I'm a manager at Starbucks. Like, damn, like I can't even write names properly. I can't even get this barista to make
Yeah,
a cappuccino right way. Like, damn, like it's getting the bills paid, but damn, it's tough.
in the bills paid, but damn. So I think that just taking on more responsibility
Mm-hmm.
in formal roles as a coach. Again, just being a coach longer.
Yeah.
Because man, I look at myself today versus in January, and dude, I remember for my first client coming in, and I was fucking like scared of my life to tell them to like squat, like just to tell them to go grab this weight,
You was like,
you
no,
know,
no, no. I didn't.
you
I
know,
didn't
like,
say anything. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I said nothing. I
yeah, I
said
didn't say
nothing.
nothing. You don't want to work out? Oh, okay, my bad, my bad. It's like, but so that just sticking in the room and again bringing it back to working with Swanee.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed working with Swanee, and in the sense of we're not always being formally one on one directly working with him, but being in the same environment as him and hearing him when
Mm.
I'm on the floor with my coach, with my client, I hear him with whether he's on a client, whether he's with a client, whether he's talking to another coach, whether he's on a call, I hear him. So it's almost like this replication where this part of me just kind of replicating
Yeah.
him, seeing how he communicates with people, how he builds community, how he's able to build a community while still focusing on each person individually, making sure everyone gets their attention while still having the gym as a whole, the business as a whole as at the forefront. Um, Man, I'm just excited to stay in this. It feels like almost a mentee of sorts. I've never had a
Yeah.
mentor really.
Mm.
Feels like he is a mentor, and so I've seen the progress in just these past 6 months, and I'm just excited to just stick it through. Because the first thing he said to me when he hired me, and with my history, with my personal training being new to the game, he's
Mm-hmm.
like, "Man, you got to look at year one, year two, you're eating craft dinner. Like that's the arc of the trainer. So can you just get through eating craft dinner?" I'm like, I'm surrounded by people who aren't eating craft dinner anymore.
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
there's something to
Mm-mm.
this.
You gotta eat government
There's
cheese,
something to,
bro. You have to take pride in
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. So that's where I am. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna eat this government cheese. You know why I'm gonna keep eating it? Because all these people in the same gym as me have eaten their government cheese already,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not anymore. So connect the dots. Why aren't they eating the government cheese anymore? What are they doing? And oh, time.
It's undefeated. It's like it's just so undefeated. And I would pull a Kobe. I would like do 3, 4 sessions like in between gaps of training, just studying. And it's like you're 25 years old, you're 24, like just go live life. Like that's more important than trying to catch up to somebody who's 36. They got a whole decade on you, man. Like relax. You trying to catch to the 36-year-old, to 35. Like yes, he's getting paid that much. He started at 21. He's 35. It's 14. It's 14 years, dog. What? You're not catching up to that, man. Just collect your little dividends, man. Maybe work a little side job somewhere. Do what you got to do, and just slowly get better. Focus on the quality and not the quantity. So yeah, it's the time,
Time.
time. So I'm gonna end it off with this because it's gonna be a long ass podcast. We keep talking. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna end it off with this one. Ooh, I got a good one. I got a good one. We're gonna keep it black because in Swanee's black. In honor of Swanee, we're gonna keep it black. You know, when Denzel won that Oscar for Training Day, it was Training Day. He won the Oscar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just me. It's me just speaking. Out of all the movies, out of all the movies Denzel has acted in up until that point, what made Training Day such an Oscar-winning movie? You just have to educate me because I'm a big Denzel fan. Like I'm a big Denzel fan. So was
Mm.
Training Day that lit from an acting perspective? Was it that lit?
So to answer the end of that question, was it that lit? Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Was it Oscar worthy lit?
yes.
Okay.
Um, I think at its core, seeing the rise and fall of a man
Mm,
and someone like Denzel playing such a despicable character
for sure.
and seeing everyone loves to see someone crumble, especially a character like that. They love to see them crumble and seeing how they dig themselves into a hole, how they get out. And, that one, he dug himself into a hole that he was not able to get out of. And, we all remember that,
Oh,
that monologue.
yeah, about to have
We
all
all
your
remember
motherfuckers working in Pelican Bay. Yeah.
that. um, I think people like, I think people just like a bad guy, man.
Mm.
People like a bad motherfucker. Like you think about him in American Gangster,
Oh, that's
and
that not he was in a bag. He was in his bag for
yeah,
sure.
American Gangster up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was something about I think the training day that I think it was also just the film itself where it's almost when you think about any industry, walking into an industry as like that rookie training
Mm.
day, you walk maybe a gym, you walk in as an actor, you walk
Mm.
to that floor, eyes are like, oh my god, like this is it. Like, oh, I'm gonna be riding shotgun with the guy who's doing it at the high level. Like,
Mm.
wow, you're ignorant to the world,
You're just wet
and
behind the ears.
you're wet behind the ears. You're excited, like let's go, and seeing that reality of like, oh, this is what it's like.
Mm. Okay.
Oh, and yeah, I think he played that so well. This is aura of entitlement, but then also, again, also chalk it up to good writing, of course,
Yeah, yeah.
and seeing the pressure that he had on him also, where you realize, oh, this guy's not actually the top dog. There's someone above him,
Mm.
and it was almost like if you think about American Gangster, if you were to look at the hierarchy, you look at his role in terms of power, powers that be, make things happen. You would have Denzel in Training Day right here, and then you would have him in
American
American Gangster right
Gangsters.
here,
Yeah.
and again, the American Gangster is that quiet, calm, collected guy who's making things happen with the snap of his finger. Whereas the guy in Training Day, he's using his physique, he's using his voice, his anger to intimidate and put shake people down. Where you see the levels of power,
Mm.
you know. Whereas that's a level of strength, but that strength, that quiet strength, that like you can be sitting at a restaurant, press a button, and things happen.
Yeah.
That's scary. That's scary. And yeah, yeah, I know.
I
Yeah, I love Training Day.
yeah, I love Training Day too. Like
Training Day.
I love all of Denzel movies.
Yeah, Denzel
Um,
movies can't go wrong with
nah, you just can't. You just can't. Ironically, my one of my favorite movies of all time is from his son, Tenet.
it. Ooh, Tenet, huh?
I Tenet is what got me into reading about quantum physics and quantum mechanics.
Wow.
Yeah, and learn about
Why?
okay, rabbit hole. I'm gonna just fucking bring it here.
Do it.
Fuck it, we're here. Fuck it. This is a podcast. Fucking extra. Fuck it. If you want to read this, you want to play this portion, keep playing it. Fuck it, I don't care. Nerd hours are fully here. So I'm watching Tenet. I was already in the pandemic learning about science and stuff. Like I just always been very interested in stuff like that. So I'm watching this shit. And so like, the bullet's going backwards, there's some type of reverse bullet, da da da. And then like, as we get halfway in it, they get to fighting with that one dude, and then, they get after that fight breaks out and stuff like that, stuff is going on. You slowly start seeing signs of things that just don't make sense in the movie. Kind of it's like, what the hell's going on? and then they slowly bring about like, you slowly start, can't really piece it together, but you just start seeing odd moments, right? And then it gets to that, that middle point or that atonement point where, like, they talk about the time machine, you can go backwards and stuff like that and everything like that. And as they're going backwards, and he's going backwards to go fix the past and stuff like that, um he actually created the motherfucking present. Like, he actually is making the present as he's going backwards. like like when that portion of the movie started to kick in, like as he's going backwards to get rid of something, he's actually causing the chain events to get him here. And so, 10 is a palindrome. It's just 10 and 10 going backwards. And that's why they call 10 this, because it's just 10 and 10 going backwards. And so you're looking at this like continuous feedback loop of like the result will always be the same. And then you start thinking about destiny and free will. And then you start asking yourself, like, do we really have free will, or are we enclosed in a space like this phone? And like all the choices are stuck in this phone, and like you can choose a lot of different points of destination, but you're gonna always be fixated to some endpoint because it's all stuck within this realm. And I'm like, bro, how does this work? Like, how does all this stuff really work? So I start reading about like quantum physics, quantum mechanics, and like timelines and dimensions. And so I'm reading about like, quantum physics, and like, in physics, you have atoms and you have subatoms, and they're called quarks and stuff like that. And quarks can be positioned at different anatomical positions and stuff like that. And when a quark changes position, like it changes itself on a timeline from like a subatomic level. And like these different quarks will then lead up to being atoms lead to people, stuff like that. So you start to realize like, the energy and electricity and all these frequencies talk that spiritual people talked about actually have some type of validity within the quantum physics realm. And if you take a chart of like atoms, and then you compare atoms to like the chart of how muscles are breaking down from like the muscle belly to the fascicles to the products of the fascicle, and how it builds up back into the human body and stuff like that. It's the same thing with quarks going to atoms, and atoms being a part of neutrons, electrons, and protons, and that leading to organisms and cells and things like that. Like it builds up the same as that way. So like you see how, you know, it's a parallel in structure. So like, okay, I'm looking at all these things, and we talk about like different dimensions. Like you have a first dimension, which is just a singular dot. Second dimension is a dot and a line. Then you have a third dimension where you have length and width. Then you have um no, third dimension is length, width, and height. And then you have the fourth dimension, which is length, width, height, and time. Time is now a factor. And then you have a fifth dimension. I forgot what that one's about. Somebody's like in this big ass rabbit hole, just learn about stuff. And I'm like, and then the more you get to learn about it, the more you start realizing, like, wait a fucking minute, bro. Like, this life we live in is kind of trippy. And it's like, all right, then you start thinking about religion and God. It's like, wait, this is a very intelligent being beyond any capacity of understanding. And the more I watch Tenet, I'm like, is this an explanation of how God works? Like, is this really an explanation of how God works? Like, no matter what you do, no matter how you try to flip history, even if you have the power, the ending will always be the same. No matter which way you choose, it's just going to play out in whatever favor destiny has it to be. And that is like one of the trippiest things I took from Tenet. It's the same as that thing that happened in the other movie that Christopher Nolan had made with Interstellar. Like, my man's is stuck in literally the Doom dimension. My man's is stuck out there, pressing things like a tar hero. And that's string theory. String theory is that we all have different timelines and things like that, and that these different strings are intertwined to everybody's timeline, and that through actions and belief and willpower, that you can kind of manipulate these strings and change your frequency to be on a different type of timeline. Destiny will always be the same, but you're just changing the path, of course, on your destiny. And it's just real trippy because like when you talk about superstrings and M theory and things like that, I mean, you kind of start thinking about how certain books, like this is one book called The Mind and the Brain that I read, and it was this psychologist working with a guy that worked in quantum physics. He was a psychologist working with people in OCD in the 80s, and he wanted to help people with OCD. And he gives you a whole dissertation of how the different ways you can help somebody from a psychological basis and the different ways it can help. And he's all shown like how somebody can be suffering from something because of a physical something that was physical or something that was something mental, but in the end he said there's a certain level of neuroplasticity that exists within the brain, and that there's neuroplasticity that exists in the gray matter in the brain, um, is where we can grow ourselves and grow and heal. But he said that wasn't really manipulated until people started to pray, have willpower, and believe themselves. Like doing that is what caused a lot of shift and change in the brain. And a quantum physicist showed that, you know, it's a lot of subatomical things that are going on within the brain at that time, and that it's a metaphysical thing that from a different dimension
Mm.
outside of the physical body is causing change within the body. And so because of the quantum physicist, he was able to show that there is a mind and that there's consciousness, and that the consciousness has the ability to shift and heal or change the physical nature of the brain itself through its own dimension of metaphysics of going from a higher dimension to a lower dimension. And so
Wow.
I'm just like connecting all these fucking dots. I'm like, what the hell? This is life?
Mm.
This is life. And it's like it just started off with like that book, but not book, that movie, but already kind of being interested in it. And it just made me realize like for example, like in Swanee showed his bookcase on his story. And this motherfucker had the
Yeah.
same books I had. I'm like, hey dog, like I thought I was the only one with that exclusive Vladimir Sistorsky 1990s edition book. That's like a PhD level book. Hey dog, I thought that was me. Thought I was. He's like, nah, man. Like you can't stop God. Like that's God, man. And like it's just small nuggets like that. And the more me and him talk, is like, nah, we're like one of the same. Like literally one of the same. Like the more me and him talk and have conversations, like we're really like the same people. And so when I
Wow.
look at everybody in my life that I like look up to and people that like I'm around, it's like I'm not saying I'm the Kobe Bryant, I'm not saying I'm Jay-Z, I'm not saying I'm Michael Jordan, but like I do have these obsessive personality traits to just be better than you. Like
Yeah.
if it's me and you, it's me every time, every single time.
Mm.
And I don't care what it is you want to do. I'm going to do it to the point where like I'm cool with you crying off of this shit. I'm cool with you rethinking
Yeah.
life off of this. I'm cool with you even thinking like, damn, like I can never do this again because of him. I'm cool with that because I don't want you in this. This is only for me. This is only meant for me. It is that type of narcissist level addiction of obsession. Like it's only meant for me.
Yeah.
And like the more I like study physics like that, and you know timelines and superstring theory and you know metaphysics, yeah, dog, you can't question destiny. It really is meant for you. It really is something that you cannot escape. And the more you just walk in that, as we hear now, alignment, but the more you walk into that, and affirm it and own it, the more I feel like you achieve something. And I have a therapist now. She's great. She's actually we used to be based out of Toronto. She's in Australia now, and we got into somatic therapy and learning how to help heal the body and
Mm.
things of that nature through breath work and meditation stuff we talk about a lot on Instagram through DMs. And the biggest thing she told me, she was like, you know, if you truly want to grow, you have to start asking what's the highest version of yourself and how does that look and how do you imagine it, how do you envision it, and how do you get closer to that higher version every day. And similar to you about being a year from where I was last to where I am now, if you would have told me I'd be a head coach, um, my business would turn the corner, I'll be making a bigger name for myself, um, I'll be at the point where like I fully understand what I want to do with my life as a young man, and more importantly, I own my sense of purpose. I would tell you stop smoking. You got some bad weed. I would tell you that to your face because there's no way I would have believed you and sat there and listened to it. But after going through a downward spiral and things just not going my way and things falling apart. I'm at ground zero. There's a quote that says like ground zero is always the best place to start. And I'm a firm believer of it because
Mm,
every single bad foundation had to be broken. And um now I'm at the point where, like, my therapist said this. She was like, as you level up, there's always gonna be like more devils as you level up. So the higher you want to go, the more challenges you never thought that were there will appear. And I would
yeah.
say, like, being on my own, I guess, timeline for myself, the biggest thing I saw was like those challenges are like proving grounds, and it's meant for you to cast away versions that are not meant to be there anymore. It's not about the
Mm,
result, it's about coming out of it better, allowing the process to further who you are, the best parts of you, or allowing that other side, the side that, isn't productive for you, to show itself more, because maybe that's who you truly are as well. Like, not everybody can just be inherently good. Like, this isn't a fairy tale. We can consistently make bad
mm,
choices because we like it. We can consistently do that. And those challenges, it just allows you to just ask yourself, like, who are you and how do you prove yourself? And how do you show up and how do you present yourself for you? What do you truly want? Not about the result exteriorly, monetarily, status wise, none of that. How does it prove it for you? How do you want this moment to prove who you are towards your higher self, or any version of yourself for that matter? And yeah, man, like, Tenet and learn about stuff like that, it's pretty trippy, but it started to allow me to believe more at a deeper level of what a higher power is, and made me realize, like, if I've been blessed to this capacity as a young man to be this extremely intelligent and great in coaching at a very young age, let me not fucking waste it.
yeah.
Let me use it to the fullest capacity and make the most out of
Yeah.
it. Because obviously
Yeah.
it's meant to serve for the greater good of something beyond me. And making money off of it is just a small token of a reward compared to the bigger reward that I'm not actually seeing, which is, kids making their high school team for the first time, or young kids who had bad coaches that never gave them opportunity, and now they're able to see themselves in a better identity and take that new identity and apply it to life. And now they're more extroverted. Now they're more secure. Now they're happier. Now they feel more fulfilled. Or a kid who
Yeah.
never played college basketball, now he's playing college basketball. Or even just the fact that, like, I can say I can pay bills off of it. It's just things that,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's just certain things that you will never see as such a huge reward, because you're kind of just fixated on, man, I gotta make this. I gotta make this amount. I gotta be here. I gotta do this. And it's like, dog, you already are winning. You just don't see your wins as wins compared to what we call wins in this very lowly world of everything being so visceral and so physical. But from a purpose perspective, from a discipline perspective, from a perspective of just higher self, you're winning. So just keep checking off those boxes and you'll be all right. All that other stuff will come when it's time to come. As long as you put plans in place and you got the right people showing you how to capitalize upon those opportunities, it'll come around when it's time to come around. And until then, live below your means, budget your bread, do what you got to do, and just enjoy life for what it is. And to go back to the movie, man, like, that's what got me down that rabbit hole. I was already interested in all those different type of things, but um, that movie and then digging deeper, it really showed me that, like, I'm gonna be great no matter what. It's just meant to happen. I'm gonna be great in a good way or great in a bad way, and I just truly mean that statement. I'm gonna be a great coach, or I don't know, great at something negative. That's a vice that I may have that I need to fix. 'Cause we all have it, but in the end, that's just the scale or the spectrum we all exist in. There's nobody in the middle. You're gonna be great at something, no matter what happens. And you think you're not great because it ain't no money behind it. Nah, you're a great asshole. You're great at being condescending. You're great at not showing
Yeah.
up at time. Like, you're pretty great at it. Like, only you can do the shit you do. So that's the spectrum we exist in. So that's how Tenet became my favorite movie. It really expanded my mind on the deeper things that it's about. And I shouted Christopher Nolan. That motherfucker's brilliant. But that's really how I got into like digging deeper on those type of things.
Wow. First of all, I want to say I think that's a testament to your character and again your the qualities you possess as a coach, like to allow for a movie to affect you that much,
Mm,
and just shows how much of a student you are. You know, like how you dove so deeply into Tenet and say the philosophies, the subject matter, and how you're able to so effortlessly connect it back to coaching is incredible. And I think that will take someone so far because you have so much to pull from,
yeah.
you know, that you can bring to a client, you can bring to the kids, you can bring back to basketball, which is pretty amazing. And it's exciting hearing how passionate you just were of just talking about Tenet and all the matters in between was again it just made me think so much about what we've been talking about, how
Mm,
again our as a human life is so dynamic and it all does come together and it's okay to be over here for a bit
yeah.
and to be back here. And yes, you will be great at something.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. I remember my coach actually said my last basketball coach, funny, like he was the coach that, funny enough, again we won championships in school, but I quit basketball after playing with him. And I remember in a practice, he looks at me. He's like, "Kadrian, you're either going to be the greatest on this team in 5 years, or you're going to be the worst on this team in 5 years."
Oh shit.
He's like, "Just,"
Broke it down
he
like
said,
that,
"There's
huh?
no," yeah,
Damn.
14-year-old kid. I was like, "Damn." I remember hearing that at 14. You know, I didn't process it, but it hit me,
Yeah.
and I did take that as a compliment of sorts.
Mm.
Um, because the way I looked at that was kind of like what you said, like this idea of going all. You're not gonna be in the middle. You're not gonna be in the
Yeah,
middle. You're
there's
either gonna
no
be
middle
in one
ground.
extreme or the other.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground. So yeah, this idea of yeah, just diving deep into things, rabbit holes, and allowing yourself to just be consumed by stuff. It always brings so much more flavor to you. And again, I see it in the way, like I remember when I first followed you
Yeah.
and your stories and the way you see him breaking down movement. I'm like, this guy has a background in something I didn't. And when you brought up your background in school and you brought up even just your reading, I was like, wow, this makes sense because you're drawing from so much stuff outside of a gym.
Yeah.
When you're communicating about coaching, it's admirable. It's reassuring to me, again, coming from a background that wasn't coaching.
Yeah.
That's like, oh wow, I have so much I can pull from to and make me more robust and enhance my coaching and myself.
Nah. I mean, that's real. I mean, so let me tell you how I even got to that point. I guess on the bonus portion. So this is like 20 out of high school. I'm not playing at any college. I'm like, man, how the fuck do I make a collegiate team? Like, I'm ass. Not the best. I got a shot. I'm not the best. So I just made a circle. Just wrote basketball in the middle of a circle. And I asked, what are every single components basketball is connected to that I can get better at on my own? I can't afford training. I'm broke. I'm at a junior college. I'm broke working at a factory. So I put basketball is connected to biomechanics, how to shoot, how to dribble, stuff like that. I put strength and conditioning. I put IQ. Then I put skill development, how to dribble, how to do all this. Then I put
Mhm.
and I put the mentality side, like it's a lot of, you know what I'm saying, cat and mouse games and things. I just there's different things that surround the game of basketball itself. And you know, in psychology and also in computer science, called like a top down effect. You go from a higher level of our hierarchy and bring it down.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, all right, well, if I study all of these outside factors first and then bring it back to basketball, I'll be a better basketball player. So I studied like the biomechanics of how to shoot a ball, started studying the psychology of war, reading the art of war and 40 laws of power and, you know, how to manipulate things, started studying that. I started studying human body and you know, basketball players, like what training works best for them. And I was like a lot of isometric, eccentric shot training, things of that
Mhm.
nature. So went down a huge rabbit hole, and then I was able to like I heard about triphasic training. I started reading about that. Vladimir Zedatorsky and elasticity, reading about that. I'm on fucking Simply Faster. There's a guy named Dan Foley talking about offset loading is great for the body and stability. Okay, I need that for the core. Okay, Justin Ochoa, he's talking about concentric focus only. Try, I bet, I'm just diving in rabbit holes and I'm just bringing it all back because I was reading The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg and he said, like, a genius is just somebody that can connect the dots. Like, I took that quote and I swear to God, I didn't look back. And then I kept reading his book about habits, and he said, like, Tony Dungy said, the best players are the players that don't think, they see it and just do it. They just see the pattern. And I was like, oh, okay, so basketball and sports is a game of pattern. So I add that, like, what's the algorithm of the sport? And so I started studying film and started realizing, like, every time in pick and roll, the biggest and drop, you're supposed to shoot a jump shot. Let me make sure. Let me make sure. Um, sorry, click, stop. All right. Okay, the bigs by the elbow, jump shot. Okay, next player, Stephen Curry. Okay, the bigs by the shit. Okay, Chris Paul. Okay, Steve Nash, Darren Williams, like Ray John, like it's all the same fucking thing. If the big want to play the drive and he's guarding two, you shoot the mid range jump shot. And I'm like, so is basketball that simple? You just see the pattern and make the right read? Is it? And then I just started training myself like that. And then I started to take all these things and I got really damn good, like really fucking good overnight. And so I'm doing like 3 days, 4 days at the gym, training myself. Got a whole notebook of drills, just doing every day. I go in the gym, work out. There's like a team on the other side. They need an extra body. I work out with them. I'm working out with them. Now I'm their practice dummy. I'm just helping out. I just love basketball. I'm in school. My practice dummy. I'm just trying to do a little college walk on. Practice dummy then turns to being an assistant coach, then turns to being an RA. And all of this started out for me to bust some ass on the court. And it
Mm.
turned into a blueprint of how to take higher level hierarchy of thinking to go back to the main source because basketball is just a combination of just a lot of different factors. And so once you go to the factors it's connected to and get better on those things, once you pour it back in, you actually widen the base itself and you allow it to grow, allow it to move in ways. And honestly, since then, that's how I train, that's how I develop, that's how I
Mm.
process thinking. It's like if I see something, I always ask, like, what is it connected to? And I
Mm.
go to the root and I study the root and then I go back to it and I ask problems about it. So I got a kid that's like not the most coachable. I just go back to the house,
Back
study
to
the
the
house,
house.
always go back to the house. Always. It never fails. Never. Either the house or the neighborhood or both. It never fails. And then once you see what's going on, it's like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
Dad's not present, or he stays
Mm.
on the side of town where they got the highest crime rate. Okay, all this stuff. Okay, cool. Okay, now what buttons we push for motivation? How do we push the right buttons? Okay, how do we get them
Yeah.
tools to survive the environment? Because if the environment is more prevalent a priority than the actual demand of training, their training status will be very low. So how do we get them tools to offset that? How do we help them in their environment? How do we really show them how to combat it? Like it gets like that for me. And like when I'm in that zone, it's
Right.
like I just feel unfuckwittable. Like there's no coach. Like, yeah, you can be great at
There's
programming.
no.
Yeah, you can be great at programming. Cool. You can be great at teaching these ball. Cool. Keep that. Keep that. Fuck with me on developing somebody from scratch. You can't turn shit to
Yeah.
sugar like me. Cause I know every single in and out. I know every single detail. You're not beating that. I don't care what you try to do. Because in the end, I'm helping this kid in life, helping the court, helping with academics, helping him realize that it's a step by step process. I'm just tying every single thing together from personal development to skill development, athletic development, and just overall the process of helping them through life and giving them end goals, career goals, and how to set goals, all these different things. It's like, how? Yeah, you're better than me, but if it's 10 of us in the room and I'm top five and I'm top five in 10 categories, that I mean I'm the best motherfucker here. I'm taking that. And if I do it long enough, I'll be number one in every category, like LeBron is doing right now. I'll be number one and number two in every category from a longevity standpoint. So it was the connectivity for me. And then when I met in Swanee, I started thinking like, damn, so you connect all these things because it's a system you're building. You're building a system. You're building stuff that's supposed to operate on its own. And, when I started realizing you build system, it's like that's when me and Swanee had this like conversation one day when he
Mhm.
got back from vacation. It's like you take what are the small gears that turn to big gears? What are the defining KPIs that allow everything else to move a lot better? For him is health strategies, teaching people how to really take care of how they eat and the windows of when they eat to provide certain energy so they can perform better in their life. Like that's a huge small wheel. For me with kids is how are you getting better on a consistent basis without thinking you're getting better? Like I tell kids all the time, like if you guys would just sit under the rim and just play around with the bat board for like 15 minutes a day, you'll make more layups. Easy. If you legit just sit in a chair, just shoot form shots, bumping Lil Wayne or Lil Uzi, whoever you want to listen to, for 15 minutes, you'll be a better shooter because it's daily deposits of frequency you're doing. So, what are the small wheels that turn to big wheels and stuff like that? So, it started off like that, and it got to where it is right now, to where like I'm always thinking like, how can I refine the system a lot more? How can I plug and chug a lot more? Where are certain areas I lack that I need to get better at? For me, programming wasn't my strength. I know exercise movements, I know order of movements and sequential movements, but programming for weeks on end, months on end, it was always my weakness. It was always my weakness. And when I got better at that, I started to realize like, okay, now how do I now take this new strength and add it to long term development planning for kids? So it's kind of sum it up. Um, that connectivity and that ability to see all the dots, it came from a dark place for me because like I just didn't want to live with the reality of I would never play college basketball.
Mm.
I was so desperate, I legit was going to learn everything it took to train myself to play college basketball, every single facet of it. And that desperation allowed me to be the coach I am now because I know that hunger. I know that feeling of like, damn, this is it. Like, this ball stops here. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
I can go play pickup. I can go do men's league, but this is it. Like, no more jersey, no more real jerseys, no more. This it just stops here. Um, I know what that feels like, and that's why I coach very stern because like you don't want to be there of having an identity crisis, and now you don't know what to do with your life
Mm.
because you simply said, "This is who I'm going to be. This is all I know." Like it was the worst feeling ever, and that's why I always educate kids. Like, what is your plan B? Like the ball stops for somebody at some point. So what do we do after this? How do we slowly add that to our lives? So that's how it started. It's a great strength. It's a great tool, but I take a lot of stock within it because it's amazing to see kids who all different walks of kids go from not having any type of confidence, any type of whatever, and how it changes them on the court, and then how it changes them as a person. I think it's the most fulfilling thing I get to do as a coach. I truly mean it. Like, yeah, the business is doing better, but like seeing kids become more secure in themselves and more outgoing and more, I guess you say, hungry into just developing more themselves. It just it's fulfilling to me because damn, I wish I had that at their age. Like I wish I had that at their age for
Mm.
sure. And that's the most. If somebody said would I ever coach how I coach broke, I'll say yeah, I would have no problem. I would live in my car and coach because I never had that. Never had that type of active
Yeah.
male leadership in my life. So that's how it started, and that's how I'm able to coach now at that effectively high level. And I believe if anybody wants to do it to that type of blueprint, um, it gotta be from a place that is very deeply rooted. It has to be a deep why. Has to be a deep why to the point it becomes kind of automatic. I don't think about I don't hesitate when it comes to pushing myself. I just don't. I feel like I have no choice. Because that was the mindset I had when I first started. Like I have no choice but to learn this because it's the last shot I have. And it's kind of instilled in me now.
Yeah.
Like I have no choice but to keep pushing myself, keep learning, and keep working to be great. And once anybody gets there, winning or success becomes a distraction because you want to stay there. You want to stay there in your process. You want to stay there in your day to day activities that got you there. And you stop looking at winning and success as a result of accomplishment. You see it as uh, of what it is supposed to be, a succession rate, a rate of succession, like how efficient or how accurate is this process. And then you start measuring it like, is this 100%, 95, 85? Like, like what is this? And once that starts to consume you, um, I think you understand what purpose feels like. It's a certain level of high I cannot describe. It's a certain level of bliss I cannot describe. It's something you will have to find on your own and experience. But there's no more dark days. There's no more days of doubt. There's no more unsureness. You just know it's constant. It's like a quote Nipsey in his songs. It's like gravity. Like the grind becomes so rewarding. Like it's like a constant like gravity. It's always going to be there for you. It's always going to be consistent. And I was just like you. Literally 3 years ago, I only had one client. I got 15 to 18 kids now. You know what I'm saying? Slowly on the way to 30. And once I get to 30 to 40, I mean, life's good as fuck. So all I can say to kind of like end off that part of my rant is whatever is your darkest moment in life, use it. It is the best thing you do for yourself.
Hmm. It's pretty incredible, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And surprised me even hearing you're 28 because um you're I'm young, you're young, you're very wise beyond your years, and um,
Experience. Experience. You
yeah,
go you go through shit. You go through shit at a young age that kids ain't supposed to go to or go through for that matter. And you're left to process it on your own because people got to work a lot of hours because they don't have the skills to make high level bread.
yeah,
So when parents and people taking care of you have to work 60 hours and you're there by yourself, it forces you to sink or swim, forces you to figure shit out on your own. So the wisdom definitely comes from there. But I will also just say quickly, it's not until now 28. I know what it feels like to be 28 because I was always wise because I had no choice but to be wise. But not until I got into like somatic therapy and like really understanding how my body feels. Um, like it's just baggage. It just was a lot of baggage from all the years not processing things. And I can say for once, I can wake up in my body and I can feel what a man is supposed to feel like a certain level of just groundedness, a certain level of calmness, a certain level of clairvoyancy, and knowing that like these things are gonna get done like this. It's gonna get done like this, and I'm not going to shy away from anything to turn me from not getting it done like this. It's gonna happen, come hell or high water, and I don't care what's gonna happen. But before, I couldn't say that. I didn't know how to deal with emotions. Very impulsive. Um, was always quick to blow up sometimes, and I had the
mm,
wisdom because I had the intelligence to survive. That's where it came from. But I didn't have
mm,
the, I guess you can say, I wasn't raised to learn how to use it properly and how to get the most out of it. And now, since I journal a lot, I talk to myself a lot, and I talk to my younger self a lot in my journal entries. And I
mm,
meditate upon those things. You know, I'm able to sometimes envision life if I was there for me and where I would be and how life would have been a lot differently. And it just brings a certain level of calmness of like I could have control not having nobody guide me. I couldn't control not having anybody give me advice. And I couldn't have, like you said earlier, I couldn't control nobody teach me how to envision where I can be in life. Couldn't control those things. I'm just a kid handling what's in front of me, like every single kid is doing right now. And
Yeah.
I would say being wise behind your years is only useful if it has allowed you to advance beyond your years.
Mm.
You can have all the wisdom and you can spew it out, but if how you talk doesn't match to where you are, that means that there's a gap and there's something not working within your system of thinking or operational of order. And for me, that's when I humbled myself and I said, all right, well, I need a better therapist. I need better need better work because I'm pretty intelligent. My business is failing. I'm failing, and I don't like where this is. And everything around me is falling apart. I have to fix that. So, just a quick tangent because I get that a lot, but humbly, I tell people all the time, man, like it means nothing sometimes. Because if I can't use it for whatever reason why, I'm no different than the guys who are athletically gifted and don't make it far in athletics. I'm the same type of guy. I'm just extremely brilliant, talented, but I got a lot of stuff that happens to me that prevents me from executing because I don't know how to process stuff or I don't know how to do stuff because of how I handled it before. And I haven't learned a new method. So that's just a kind of quick tangent though on top of that. Like, um, wisdom is great, but true wisdom is knowing how to use it, knowing how to properly apply it. And that's the whole point of inviting people like you on this podcast. So anybody, there's a lot of people that are probably in your shoes right now that are wearing multiple hats as trainers. Like, man, I got a couple coaches I know when I first got into training with adults. I mean, some of them were bartenders at night. You know what I'm saying? Some of them were bartenders. Some of them did streaming. Like, come on now, like you stream, like you do Twitch and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. But like in their world, like man, I don't want to talk about that. Like they gonna think I'm not active and all this other stuff. So I revamped all of this because after a whole year of rediscovering myself, it's like I'm not gonna be here. I only live for like 80 years, bro. I'm not gonna be here for long. Like real shit. Like I'm really not gonna be here for long. I only got 24 hours. I sleep for 6, maybe 5. I did a podcast with you for 2. I coach kids for like 4. Like this shit is short. So why not just live on a high? Live on a high every day of like, this is it. This is all I know. I don't know nothing else but busting my ass, doing my best, and achieving my goal. Everything else is an afterthought. Just live on that high every day and just chase that, you know what I'm saying, perfectional state of process. Like it's never gonna happen, but it's the best place to be. It is paradise to just wake up and say, all right, I'm gonna do everything right. Ah man, all right, cool. How can I perfect it? All right, I'm gonna do it like I'd rather do that. I'd rather do that every day than wake up trying to figure out how to avoid shit in life, how to avoid a heartbreak,
Yeah.
how to avoid debt, how to avoid dog. I don't care. I'm gonna die at some point. This is no, what's in front of me is all that matters, and
Yeah.
everything else is very fleeting. Whether it's
Yeah.
this conversation, these kids I train, at some point it comes to an end, and when it does, the presentness of that opportunity is more important than looking back at it. Because when you look back, do you regret or you like wholesomely accept that, like, yeah, this was fun. This was a great thing I did because I was fully in it, fully integrated within it. And that's just how I live life, man. I don't got it in me no more to be so fickle about, what if I don't do, and I might die. I just might fuck around and die
Mm.
one day, and
Yeah.
I don't know what happens next. So I think that's why I'm kind of just outgoing because I want to go out the right way, my way.